Hi, my name is Mrs. Whipple, and I predict we're going to learn today. When I say I think the Cyclones are going to win their next game, what do you guys think that means?
To predict?
Yeah, I'm making a guess about what the Cyclones are going to do. When we make predictions, especially when we're reading, we look and listen for clues as well as think about things we know about the characters and prior events in the story. Today we're going to talk about predictions and how it helps us better understand the story. Predict means to tell beforehand or to make a guess about what will happen in a story. Sometimes when we make a prediction, sometimes they're wild guesses. For example, if I said, I predict it's going to snow next summer, do you think that could happen?
No.
No, it's probably not likely to happen. So sometimes our wild guesses can be impossible, but we make them so we can maybe see if they'll happen, but most likely they won't. It is important when making predictions that we really consider the information that we know about the characters and the information we have read in the stories. And when we make predictions, we're reinforcing what we know about the characters, the story, and predicting can help us determine the purpose of the story. And also, whether we make right or wrong predictions, it helps us better understand the story, and it can correct any misunderstandings we might have of the story. So today I'm going to read a chapter from Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. Is anyone familiar with this story? No? Well, not every prediction that we're going to make will be exactly right, but it's important when we make our predictions to base it on things like the title, the chapter titles, the cover, and pictures if we have them, and prior information we know about the characters. This title doesn't really offer us very much in the way of pictures, but based on the title, I can predict that it's going to be about a fourth grader. And then I actually brought a copy of what another cover looks like, so we can make predictions from this. If I had to predict about Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, like I said, I think it's about a fourth grader. And then it looks like he has a younger brother who's quite a handful. If you notice, he's written on the walls, and he's cutting stuff and dropping it into the turtle bowl, and the turtle's not in his bowl, and the brother looks kind of mad. So based on that, that would be my predictions about the story. And then when we open it up to the first chapter is called The Big Winner. So based on that, I'm going to predict that Peter, who is the older brother, I predict that he's going to win something, but I don't know what he won. So let's read the first chapter and find out what he wins, if he wins. I won dribble at Jimmy Fargo's birthday party. All the other guys got to take home goldfish in little plastic bags. I won him because I guessed there were 348 jelly beans in Mrs. Fargo's jar. Really, there were 423, she told us later. Still, my guess was closest. Peter Warren Hatcher is the big winner, Mrs. Fargo announced. Now I'm just going to stop and say, was my first prediction about Peter being a winner, was that right? Was that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now we'll read on and see what he won. At first I felt bad that I didn't get a goldfish too. Then Jimmy handed me a glass bowl. Inside there was some water and 3 rocks. A tiny green turtle was sleeping on the biggest rock. All the other guys looked at their goldfish. I knew what they were thinking. They wished they could have tiny green turtles too. I named my turtle Dribble while I was walking home from Jimmy's party. Now, do we know what he won?
Is it the turtle?
Yep, he won a turtle. So my second prediction of him winning something was right. He won a turtle. I live at 25 West 68th Street. It's an old apartment building, but it's got one of the best elevators in New York City. There are mirrors all around. You can see yourself from every angle. There's a soft cushioned bench to sit on if you're too tired to stand. The elevator operator's name is Henry Belveheimer. He lets us call him Henry because Belveheimer is very hard to say. Our apartment's on the 12th floor, but I don't have to tell Henry. He already knows. He knows everybody in the building. He's that smart. He even knows I'm 9 and in 4th grade. I showed him Dribble right away. I won him at a birthday party, I said. Henry smiled. Your mother's going to be very surprised. Now, I would just want to point out, too, that my next prediction, one of my predictions was that he was in 4th grade, and we learned that he's 9 and in 4th grade. Henry was right. My mother was really surprised. Her mouth opened when I said, just look at what I won at Jimmy Fargo's birthday party. I held up my tiny green turtle. I've already named him Dribble. Isn't that a great name for a turtle? My mother made a face. I don't like the way he smells, she said. What do you mean, I asked. I put my nose right down close to him. I didn't smell anything but turtle. So Dribble smells like turtle, I thought. Well, he's supposed to. That's what he is. I'm going to take care of him, I'm not going to take care of him either, my mother added. Of course you're not, I told her. He's my turtle, and I'm the one who's going to take care of him. You're going to change his water and clean out his bowl and feed him and all that, she asked. Yes, I said, and even more, I'm going to see to it that he's happy. This time my mother made a funny noise, like a groan. I went into my bedroom. I put Dribble on top of my dresser. I tried to pet him and tell him he would be happy living with me. But it isn't easy to pet a turtle. They aren't soft and furry, and they don't lick you or anything. Still, I had my very own pet at last. Later, when I sat down at the dinner table, my mother said, I smell turtle. Peter, go and scrub your hands. Some people think that my mother is my biggest problem. She doesn't like turtles, and she's always telling me to scrub my hands. That doesn't mean just run them under the water. Scrub means I'm supposed to use soap and rub my hands together. Then I've got to rinse and dry them. I ought to know by now. I've heard it enough. But my mother isn't my biggest problem. Neither is my father. He spends a lot of time watching commercials on TV. That's because he's in the advertising business. These days, his favorite commercial is the one about Juicio. He wrote it himself, and the president of the Juicio company liked it so much he sent my father a whole crate of Juicio for our family to drink. It tastes like a combination of oranges, pineapples, grapefruits, pears, and bananas. And if you want to know the truth, I'm getting pretty sick of drinking it. But Juicio isn't my biggest problem. My biggest problem is my brother, Farley Drexel Hatcher. He's 2.5 years old. Everybody calls him Fudge. I feel sorry for him if he's going to grow up with a name like Fudge. But I don't say a word. It's none of my business. Fudge is always in my way. He messes up everything he sees, and when he gets mad, he throws himself flat on the floor and he screams. And he kicks, and he bangs his fists. The only time I really like him is when he's sleeping. He sucks on 4 fingers on his left hand and makes a slurping noise. When Fudge saw Dribble, he said, Ooh, see, and I said, That's my turtle. Get it? Mine. You don't get him. Fudge said, No touch. Then he laughed like crazy. Now, one of my other predictions was that Peter had a younger brother, and it sounds like Fudge is Peter's biggest problem, right? Yep. So I would say most of my predictions were actually correct. We learned that Peter was in 4th grade, he has a younger brother who's a pain, and he played a game and won. So once we identified some of those characteristics, it makes it easier for us to predict things in the future and more in the story. So as we read on, we can see if our predictions are right as we go on. But if you guys were interested in the book, Tales of a 4th Grade Nothing, there's a whole series about it. There's about 5 books with Fudge and Peter, so if you want to check them out, check the library. So let's practice making predictions together. I have another book here called Judy Moody Was in a Mood. Is anyone familiar with Judy Moody? No? What kinds of things can we predict about Judy Moody based on the title and cover?
She's moody and probably angry.
That's right. And if you notice in the O's of the Moody, she's happy in one and maybe angry in the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now let's take a look at the first chapter called Bad Mood. What are some of the things we notice about the picture? If you look through the chapter, what kinds of things can you notice in the picture?
Her room's kind of messy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kitty, and it looks like someone's laying in bed not wanting to get up.
Yep, and do you see the mom peeking in on her, maybe trying to wake her up?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, let's turn to a couple pages. And what do you notice about this picture?
Everybody's up, and she's walking in through the door.
Yep. Does she look angry maybe?
Yeah, she looks grumpy.
Yep. Okay, let's turn to a couple more pages. And what do we notice about this last picture?
She still looks angry.
Yep, and her friend looks like he's trying to talk to her, but she looks angry.
Yeah.
Yep, those are all great answers. Let's make a prediction about what we think is going to happen in this first chapter now that we've seen those pictures and we know the chapter is called Bad Mood. What do you think might happen in this chapter?
Maybe she doesn't want to get up and her mom's making her get up.
Okay.
She stays grumpy all day.
Okay. Those are great predictions. Do you think maybe she doesn't want to go to school if she's at the bus stop, maybe?
Yeah.
Or she's outside?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll write that one down too. Okay. Would you like to volunteer to read?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just start on the first page?
Yeah. Judy Moody did not want to give up summer. She did not feel like brushing her hair.
Oh, sorry.